what's going on, everyone? It's Mitchell Dumont again for the weekly download here at Video Content School and now on Creative Haven, so that y'all can learn more about some video content, video making, video creation skills, everything that has to do with videography and filmmaking and video creation. And so, honestly, I really just want to talk about camera movement. So yesterday I directed a short film from my friend. Her name is Ella Castillo, and we planned the short film together with our producer Garrett, and we were able to shoot yesterday at a gym in Simi Valley, and I directed. And during the whole time I was noticing my shots, because I had a shot list. I had a camera op and a DP and an AD, and putting it all together, it was so awesome to have a crew that had my back and had basically my vision in mind, and I was able to control a lot of what was going on because people trusted my vision and my work and my leadership. And what I really learned from this whole experience was the importance of camera movement to convey action. When we first start out as videographers and video creators and DPs and camera ops, it's all about having the stable camera. And most of us do start off with tripods, but sometimes we also just use handheld. And handheld to me can be a really great shot if you know how to use it correctly. And sometimes when you are using handheld, you can have a really shaky shot. And that actually comes from your your lens being too zoomed in. So if you have like a 50 and above, well, you're going to see more camera shake with more movement in your body. But if you stick with a wide, like a 14, a 12, or an 18, or a 24 with a full frame camera, you're going to see less movement and shake. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I was filming and directing a boxing short film yesterday, and it was really important for me to convey the action and the drama as well as the frenetic pace of a boxing fight or training sequence. So I was able to take the reins from my camera op and actually do some weird shots on my own where I actually camera op by myself, and it was really interesting to see the two different styles. And I loved my camera op and my camera assistant for the day. They really helped me out a lot, and they kept everything in frame, right headroom. They were following the subjects. Things were in focus, white balance. It was beautiful, and it was great to see that consistent style throughout the whole shoot, because it's all about getting your coverage and then from there getting weird. That's what I like to call it. So what I like to tell a lot of people out there is that with camera movement, you want to get your basics first. You want to get your master shot. So the master shot is the main shot that if you had no time left over and you had to knock out a shot for the end of the day, and you had to get this scene recorded or this person interviewed or this B-roll of this one area or environment, your master shot is that one shot that you can use, that if all else fails, you can use this shot. It actually refers to a scene in a movie or a film where you have the master wide shot or even a medium shot, depending on your style, that will capture the whole scene in one take. That way you can always rely on that shot, the master shot, to either cut to from your mediums or your close-ups, or again, if you ran out of time, you at least have that one continuous shot that actually that captures your whole scene. So you don't basically have to reshoot, and you actually got the scene captured for that day. So when you are getting coverage for a video or a film, let's talk about film, because that's what I did yesterday, and you have a scene, it's all about getting your coverage. And the coverage really is all about getting your wide master shot, and then your mediums of your actors, of your characters, and then your close-ups, so you can see the emotion and the details. And I actually like to do my master shot first, and then my mediums, and then get into my close-ups. And then if I have more time at the end, that's when I get weird with camera movement. And I like handheld. The reason why handheld to me has been very interesting over the past couple years is because I really relied heavily on the gimbal and the stabilizer for moving shots. And what I've noticed is that if you watch some films out there and some Netflix shows, you can see a really good handheld camera or shoulder rig camera movement if done correctly, and it gives a much more visceral, raw, kind of like peeking in kind of look, like you're just you're basically the point of view of a person, because as a person you're not stable. So you really are just moving around, you're darting your eyes back and forth, and that's what a handheld looks like to me, is that you are looking from someone's point of view. when you're on a gimbal or a glide cam, it looks like you're floating. Like, when are you floating, except for if you're in a car or you're skateboarding or if you have the superpower to fly? And so I like the handheld shot because it really does convey a human's vision and also action and also the emotion of a frenetic pace. And so when you do handheld shots, what I've noticed is that you really want to keep it within 50 millimeters or and below, because if you're focal length with too close or too zoomed in, you're gonna see a lot of camera shake. It's gonna hard for you to get the subject in your frame unless you're really good at the camera and you're able to create slight movements with the camera to actually capture your subject and keep them in frame. I like to keep it 50 millimeters and below, handheld with a 24 or a wide lens, and then you can go handheld with a 50 to get more of the close-up or the medium. And what I've learned is that with a shot like a action sequence, it's really cool to move your body at the same time and also to play with the focus. So you get this really cool look where it's like a Nike video or a boxing video from HBO, where you're kind of like jittering the camera left and right, panning, tilting up and down, going in and out of focus, but you're always trying to find a way to get the subject in the frame, in the center, in focus. So you can, pan to the left really fast and pan to the right, rack focus, but then focus right on the subject and follow their movement. That way you can have a really cool look that has that Paul Greengrass Born Identity type of look, and it also gives you much more of a visual, frenetic, and action-paced aesthetic. That's why I love about handheld. Now, a shoulder rig is really great too if you know how to use a shoulder rig while moving. And I think that a lot of the amateurs and beginners out there, you want to test it out with a wide lens and then with your just camera itself, and then you can use a gimbal to really figure out what movements that you like. And then at the same time, if you have these cameras that have in-camera stabilization plus the lens stabilization, then you're kind of getting a warp stabilization inside of your camera so that you don't have those really jittery little motions if you just had your hand and a 50 millimeter lens on a regular DSLR without any image stabilization. So anyways, when it comes to me and camera movement, I love handheld. I love doing it after a day of getting your coverage. And when you get your coverage with just those basic safe shots, then you can get weird and you can add your voice. I always tell people it's really important if you're working for a client to get the really mandatory shots in first of the brand, of the product, of the logo, whatever it is. What is the thing that you agreed with your brand, with your client? Those very basic, fundamental, inclusive shots, the ones that you included in your creative brief that had to be there and the client wanted. Then after that, you can go weird. You can go handheld. You can do gimbals. You can play around with detaching your lens and doing those crazy styles. You can go bokeh, whatever you want to do. Get weird after you do the fundamentals and the mandatory shots or the coverage that you need to get for your scene and your video. Anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I just had a really great short film yesterday, so I really wanted to share that. Again, this is the weekly download. Tune in every Monday for more tips and tricks and fun things about videography and filmmaking. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week.